I'm so happy to have Kim Jeffs here with me today. Kim has been working in the mental health care industry for the last 20 years. She's a founder of Soma Soul, where she is a trauma therapist and a business coach for women entrepreneurs. Thank you for being here today, Kim.
Yes, thanks for having me, Terry. I'm excited to talk with you about today's topic. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So, Kim, in the late 70s, when I was one of the key players in starting the fitness boom, when I was vice president and fashion director of Macy's in New York, at that time I created a shop and it was called The Locker Room. And you could find athletic wear in this shop, and we actually put the clothes in lockers, and it was very innovative and revolutionary. And at that same time, I created a whole floor for juniors. And one of the innovative aspects of that floor was called a shop called Self Center. And in Self Center, we had vitamins and holistic and health products. And people from all over the world would come to Macy's and go to that floor to see that shop and to see the locker room. So it was, again, we were setting trends all over the world by doing this. And today it's the norm. You walk down the street and everybody's wearing athletic wear, which we don't even call athletic wear now. We just call it leisure wear or what we're wearing. So that whole movement in the 70s was all about the physical movement. And now I'm really feeling that we're moving from the physical movement to the mental health movement. And I say that because of COVID. I say that because I just am hearing more conversation about the topic of mental health. Kim, you've been in this business for 20 years. What kind of changes have you seen in the last 20 years?
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for helping revolutionize fitness wear because that's all I wear. I only wear active gear and take my vitamins and supplements. So, no, thank you so much for that. In terms of the last 20 years, and thinking about this conversation with you today, and the course of my career, I guess a few things that I have noticed, which is there has been this continual movement to decrease the stigma around mental health. We've even changed the words of like mental illness to mental wellness. There's been changes in language. Um, there's been a lot of, I guess, desire to increase access for people who can obtain mental health care. I have seen over the course of my career a shift in the professionals working in the mental health industry. I know, in the 70s, there was a lot of male psychiatrists and therapists, and now 90% of mental health providers or more are female. And so that's been a huge shift. The last probably 5 to 10 years, I've seen a shift in thinking about fashion too, but this health at every size model that has shifted in healthcare, and less focus on kind of our physical body weight and more about our physical and mental health well-being. So I've seen that kind of shift, and you're seeing that in who is maybe wearing athletic gear, for example. And I have seen, a big shift with the social justice, movement as well. I mean, I think the mental health industry is a social justice movement. And then we are also seeing that there are other marginalized groups that are not getting access to care, that are experiencing collective trauma that is now calling to be healed, and things in our society and our culture to be unlearned. I have also seen an increase in businesses and employers having to navigate the work at home what's work and what's home life. There used to be this strong distinction. It's like work was work and home was home. Well, now when kids run in and you're on a Zoom call, there's no distinction between home life and work life. And COVID's definitely highlighted that. There's definitely more emotion in the workplace than ever before. And I'm seeing employers wanting to learn how to better navigate and support their employees' mental health and well-being. And then overall, given that I have been a trauma therapist for the last 20 years and I've focused on something called somatic psychotherapy, I've seen a shift in all forms of healthcare, but especially in mental health, shifting to more of a mind-body connection. So we're no longer kind of cut off at the head in terms of like we're getting treatment just for our thoughts, but we know now that our thoughts affect our physiology and our physiology affects our thoughts. And there's just lots of really cool developments happening with science and mental health and epigenetics and how our mental health care affects our physical health care. So yeah, that's a short list, but I hope it's enough content to kind of help you and your class get thinking about, what's shifting in our culture in terms of mental health and well-being.
Well, thank you. You brought up a lot of situations where I just hadn't even thought about it. And I think the average person doesn't think about mental health. But when I think back in this late 70s, Jane Fonda used her celebrity status and helped the fitness movement by doing her workout videos. And then Prince Harry said he and Meghan chose to put their mental health first when they decided to exit from the royal family. And that when Harry talked about that, it was like, for me, an aha moment, because he was talking about mental health. And I felt how great it was that somebody like him would bring that out and start to have that conversation out in the public. Right. And he's such a huge celebrity around the world. Again, how great that was. The other thing is, growing up, we never even had that term mental health. For me, it was more mental illness. And right. I'm really excited about the fact that it's now called mental health, because it makes me become more aware of how I want to now take care of my mental health. Where before I was trying to eat right and exercise every day, take my morning walks. But now it's just brought a whole new consciousness for me. And I think that as time goes on, it will be integrated into more and more people's lives. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I hope so. For those of us in the mental health field, it's like, yes, hello, this is important. It's always been important. It's going to continue to be important. I do think consciousness is shifting, and now it's in our face and it's at the forefront. And we're really being called to address our, mental health and physical well-being, our spiritual health. Especially as we've experienced this kind of collective trauma of COVID. I am hearing more and more celebrities speak out, from politicians to professional athletes. They're speaking out, they're stepping out of systems that are broken or no longer serving them or deteriorating their mental health. They're choosing, their mental health and well-being over careers. We're seeing people step out of the workplace. This is part of kind of the job market and how there's difficulty obtaining employees. There's a lot of employees looking at their mental health and well-being and choosing that over, financial gain. So I do think we're moving in a positive direction, as it relates to cultural shifts around mental health and well-being. And to be honest with you, we also have a long ways still yet to go, and especially in addressing, marginalized groups and their access to healthcare and well-being and and trauma. But yeah, I do see the shift with you just in my, 20 years of being in the field. And I do think it is moving in a positive direction. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Well, Kim, I just want to thank you. And I want to say also how much I appreciate the work that you and your husband are doing. And he's also in the same business. And that I look at you both as heroes, as well as all the doctors who are addressing our physical needs right now. This is certainly a trying time that we've been in and continue to be in. And I just again want to thank you for the work that you're doing, and especially for the work that you're doing for women, and helping them get into their power. And we need that right now.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're
Oh, I'm so
welcome.
honored. And what a fun, moment. So thank you for that opportunity too to come talk about mental health and the trends um and it's so interesting to be able to talk to someone who's been in the fashion industry, about how mental health and cultural shifts, influence that industry. So what a fun little chat. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're welcome, Kim. And thank you again for coming and enlightening us and helping us with our mental health. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.